Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with another knitting podcast. It is currently the 30th of October, so I would say I'm right on time this time. And I have a lot of finished objects today. I am wearing one finished object and then I have 4 more. So it has been quite a crazy month of binding off projects and then also of course casting on a lot of things. Maybe a bit too many. So I hope you stick around for this video. At the end of the video I also have a lot of yarn to show you because Drops had their alpaca sale party and I went a little bit crazy. So let's get started with my finished objects. The first finished object is the sweater that I'm wearing. It's the Bloom Bobble sweater that I designed. This is my third knitting pattern that I'm working on. I have one free knitting pattern on my website. It's a skirt, then a cardigan that I will show you after this one, and then this sweater. So the pattern has not been written up yet, it has not been graded or anything, I just finished the sample. So that's something. I have had some questions about people that want to test knit it or want to know when the pattern is coming out. And I think the test knit, well, hopefully 1 to 2 weeks, and then I will be able to announce it and find enough testers. And then the actual pattern release will, I think, be next year. Just because I want to give all of the testers enough time to actually make the garment. And I really don't want it to feel like a rushed experience or like a work thing. I just want it to be relaxed. So yeah, that is a little bit of a bummer that there aren't going to be any patterns by me released this year. But it does mean a lot of exciting things in the new year and it's only 2 months away. So yeah, we'll be fine, right? There are a lot of other patterns out there, but I will come up close and then you can see this sweater as always. So it has a folded neckline with a picot edge, then cables that kind of go from the back to the front with like a drop shoulder design. Then they all come together like this with a lace and bobble chart. And then here I did some half twisted rib, not anything that cinches in, just like nice and straight, which is how I like it. Then the sleeves are also more straight than usual, even have a little bit of decreases. And then they have that same lace chart as is on the body. Then with the same fold over picot edge. And then the sleeves are just plain stockinette. The entire sweater, I did a little bit of a weird needle size. I did 6.5 millimeters, which in hindsight I thought, why didn't I just go with 6 or 7? Because also for the sleeves it was kind of weird because I couldn't find short circular needles or that were attached to a cable, like 40 centimeter cable. So I had to knit the entire thing on magic loop, which I don't really love magic loop. That aside, I do really like this sweater. It's knit in a yarn that's similar to Drops Air. It was called Gone Garn Sky. And then I held it together with a lace weight yarn. It was Mayflower Elba, which is a Savory alpaca. I believe I had some leftovers, but yeah, I'm not gonna bother getting them because I feel like I've shown them. I'm out of breath, I don't know why. But I feel like I've shown the yarn plenty of times, and I feel like I've also talked about this design plenty of times. So I'm going to get into the other finished objects because we have a lot to go through. I will just get straight into the other design that I finished, which is the Tallulah texture cardigan. This is knit on 4mm needles with a DK weight yarn. I used Drops Charisma. This now actually has been blocked, and this yarn, now that it has been blocked, is actually really nice. Like, it does feel woolly, but it also at the same time feels soft and like super washy. But I especially just love the drape. Like, I feel like when you hold it up, like you can see that it just has a really nice drape, but also a really nice weight to it. Because I use quite a lot to make a sweater like this, also with big balloon sleeves. I haven't weighed it yet, so I'm not sure how much, but I do know it's quite a lot. The thing is all over textured, so I am currently writing up this pattern. I have not started grading it yet, but I think it's going to be quite a brain exercise to grade this pattern. I will show you the back. It's basically just the same. But I do really love this sweater and I think it's very cute. The sleeves I decided to do a little bit more simple and just kind of have like one like eyelet pattern and then just a little bit of this. And then a 2x2 rib cuff that when I blocked this it just turned out so nice and yeah, I really like it. And then the collar I decided to do like a broken rib kind of thing. And then these buttons I really love. Can you see them? There you go. They're like vintage style, like amber colored buttons, and I think they complement the cardigan really well. This is like an intense knit. So the whole grading process is intense, the test knit is gonna be intense. It's definitely, I feel like, not for the faint-hearted. You have to be a lover of lace to be able to knit this pattern. But at the same time, I feel like it's like knitting stripes, but with lace. So after every lace chart, you kind of get a little break and do something else. Because they kind of alternate with like easier things. So like a lace chart with seed stitch, a lace chart with some eyelet and then broken rib. Like those are all really manageable. So I think it is very doable. There aren't any short rows in the pattern, which also makes it a little bit easier. Just increases. So increases for the neckline and then increases at the back. I mean, I think it looks very intimidating. It's not. But you do have to enjoy knitting textures, that's all. So I think that's enough said. I hope to have the test knit for that soon. If I do, I will put it in the description because it's gonna be a few more days from like when this video is filmed that this video is gonna actually be online. So maybe I will have managed by then to have the pattern finished and then to be able to have a test knit for it. Let me just get my tea. I always see other people like having a hot beverage during their podcast and I thought why not do the same to set the mood, and also maybe then I'm a little bit more calm because sometimes I can really ramble on. So I thought maybe this would help, but so far it has not. My next finished object is also a garment, and I've also shown this before because I started this in like July or something, so you might know it's the Vilma top. And I was complaining about this pattern quite a lot. Well, not a pattern per se. It was mostly just the yarn. It's Vilcolana Peruvian Highland wool, which altogether it's a nice yarn. It looks nice when you knit it up. I just feel like the knitting experience is a little bit harsh on my hands because it doesn't have like that stretchiness that some yarns do, like a merino for example. So that's why I did not love this knit. Now that it's finished, I do like it, but I think the fit is not 100% the way I would want it to be. And I should have known this just by looking at the pattern, but now that it's finished, I don't love it on me, but I do like the garment, so I do wear it. But basically, if you look at it like this, you can already see that the shoulder is like way past my own shoulder. So I think it's not the most flattering in that sense, because then here it just like it goes just straight down and then it goes even wider. So it just creates a little bit of a weird shape when I wear it. But I do think it's very cute, and I will show you the buttons that I chose. I chose just like more simple, like really simple buttons. Like a tortoiseshell type. I could have done something a little bit more special, but I guess this is what I felt like at the time. And I don't really want to talk about this any more than I have already, because yeah, like I said, I've shown it plenty of times. So Vilma top by Gregoria fibers, 4mm needles, and I think like 5 balls of Peruvian Highland wool. If I were to make it again, I would probably make it in the Drops Charisma, because I like it much more, and it's also DK weight. So that's another finished object. Then we have my vanilla socks with my first Afterthought heel. They are now a pair. I think in the last video maybe I had already finished one or it was almost finished, but now there are 2, which is really nice. I have not worn them yet, and I also think they are not blocked yet. But I did an Afterthought heel as per Laura Penrose, her video that she has on her channel, And I kind of had to do a little bit of my own math, but in the end it turned out alright. I think still an afterthought heel is not the best for my foot because I have a high arch. But I do think it's a very enjoyable knitting experience because you can just knit a tube and then do the heel, and yeah, that's just really nice. This yarn is Durable Socks in like an antique rose color, and then the yarn is Wol met Verve hand-dyed sock yarn. I knit these on 2.5mm needles and then just like 64 stitches, I believe. So I really like those. Just a nice, like, plain simple project. And the next finished object is also just like that, like a nice plain object. And it's this hat. This is a new pattern by Drops. It's called the Edge of Twilight hat. And it's knit in Drops Air on, well, I knit it on 4mm needles, but the pattern recommends 5.5mm needles. I decided to do 4mm needles because I have a small head circumference. So I believe that the Drops hat, it comes in 3 sizes, and then the smallest is for 54 circumference head, and my head is 52. I could have, I think, just done that size on the 4.5, but I also don't have the small circumference on 4.5mm, but I do have it on 4. So then I thought, maybe I will just size down a needle size, so to 4mm needles. And with 4mm needles I usually have a gauge of 20 stitches. So then I kind of did a little math to see how much centimeters it would be with the pattern. And then decided based on that to knit the medium size. So it's the medium size with 4mm needles, and then that created a hat that I believe is like 50 centimeters or 48 centimeters in circumference. So you do have a little bit of negative ease. But all of the sizes in the pattern have that. And it's one of those hats that it's double lined. So you can actually, you know, like take it apart like this. But I'm not gonna do that because I, in the center or like the back, I've like secured it here. Because I don't want it to like keep coming apart from itself. So it is double lined, the entire hat. And then of course the thing that covers your ears, the fold, is 4 layers. So basically it's the perfect hat for me because I've complained about that my ears hurt from the wind. I think maybe my ears stand like away from my head or something. So then the cold air just gets in them and it just gives the worst pain ever. But this has not done that yet. Because other hats sometimes they are not tight enough or not thick enough over my ears. But this one is perfect. So I'm already thinking about knitting it in other colors as well. Because for me this is the perfect hat, and here in the Netherlands I wear a hat every single day. So I know I'm just gonna get a lot of wear out of it. I've already worn this one multiple times and so far I would say it's holding up really well. There's not like any pilling or weird things, and I've worn it in the rain. And yeah, I think it looks great. I think I did make it also a little bit shorter, but I really like it. I will show you what it looks like on if anyone is curious. I like a hat that, yeah, of course covers my ears and then has a little bit of room but not too much. I don't love a hat that's like standing up a lot. Yeah, I think this is probably one of the favorite things that I've ever knitted, just because I feel like it's something that I'm just gonna wear a lot. And yeah, I absolutely love hats, so it's a great one. That is my last finished object, and now I can get into all of the works in progress, which there are a lot of, and there's only one that you've seen before. I'm gonna get started with my current main work in progress, which is a new design. This is the design that I have had in my mind for quite a long time, is that I really wanted to create a cardigan with a puff sleeve on top. Most of the cardigan patterns that I've seen have like a balloon sleeve, so it's at the bottom, the volume. But I really wanted something that also had volume here. But I had to really think about how I would go about the construction, and I don't have a lot of experience yet with short rows, and this is definitely something that I could not think of another way to do it without short rows. But I have managed to make it. I don't know. I don't want to be smug about it, but I'm incredibly proud of myself for figuring out the construction of this, and just look at that puff. Yeah. This is making me very happy. I don't know how this is going to be when it's finished, and also I'm a little bit, yeah, I don't know how I feel also about the size of it, because I did a little, in the Netherlands this is called a coffee bean pattern, but I have no idea what it's called in English, but it's one of these. And as you can see, it does create a little bit of a rib texture, because you can also use this like as a ribbing. So I think with blocking it will stretch out, because right now it does look quite petite, and I do want it to have just a little bit of positive ease. I designed this to have, I think I did 10 centimeters of positive ease. So it is going to be a little bit of form fitting, but not with negative ease or anything, or zero ease. I don't like that. And then the sleeves, I did a little bit of a different pattern. I just did like a pearl knit kind of texture. So right now they are on hold and I'm working on the body. I don't love knitting this pattern, but I do think having a pattern like this for a cardigan makes knitting a cardigan a lot more pleasant. The same goes for the Tallulah texture cardigan. Just because you're always alternating knits and purls anyways, when you're working on the wrong side you're also alternating. So it's not like if you were to knit a stockinette cardigan, then you really have to purl and knit and whatever. But here it's not like that. I'm knitting this on 5mm needles, and then the yarn is this. It's Drops Nepal, and I really like it in this sweater. I've knit with Drops Nepal before on 6mm needles, but I like the fabric more on 5mm needles. And it's also what is recommended, so it's just what I did. And it's 65% wool, 35% alpaca. And I believe this color on their website is called Red Clay, and I think it's a very beautiful like brick brown orangey color. And this is actually one of the acquisitions that I got in the alpaca party sale, so it was also very affordable. So yeah, it's my main work in progress, because I really love this design and I really want to see how it is finished. Then the next work in progress you have seen before, but I've progressed quite a bit. And it's the pressed flower shawl. I actually saw that, I think Young Folk Knits and I think is her name on Instagram. They are actually hosting a knit along with the pressed flower pattern. So all of the pressed flower patterns are 15% off until I think November 6th. So when this video is up, there will still be a sale. So I will link it below. It's from Savory Knitwear or Knitting, the pattern. And this is the pressed flower shawl. But she also has a beanie, socks, cardigan and sweater, I think. I think those are all of the patterns that she has. And this is with mosaic knitting, so it is color work. You're only ever knitting with one of the colors in each row. So this is how the back looks. And I really love it. I am almost done knitting all of the flowers. I believe I have one more row of flowers to do, and then I can get started on the border. I also have not knit on this for in like a week or something, but I do really want to get it finished, just because I have a lot of things that I'm working on, and then also a lot of things that I would like to one day knit on. Yeah, I have to get that one done. I'm knitting 2 pairs of socks at the same time, which was very unplanned. I didn't really think I would knit any socks after finishing those, the other socks, and now I'm suddenly knitting 2 pairs. But I found this yarn at my local store. There has been like a new kind of craft store that opened up nearby, and it's very tempting because they just sell everything that I like. So they sell beads, clay, things for baking, knitting, crochet. Yeah, just like any kind of crafty thing that you can imagine. So I went there twice, and then on one of the trips I got this yarn. It's called Pandura Fine Sock, and it's very strange yarn. This is what it looks like. And I was kind of drawn to all of these colors because I've been watching Sabrina, which I've watched again, like the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And I've already seen it once, and it was one of my favorite series, so I decided to rewatch it, which has been really nice. And yeah, like nice Halloween feels. And this yarn just reminded me of that. It gave me Halloween and witchy vibes, so that's why I decided to get it. And I was just really curious about how it would knit up. And I assumed it would be a self-striping yarn. And I would say it is. But you can see here at the start, I definitely was very confused. Because I was like, what kind of stripes are these? Like, it's definitely not what I imagined. It's called Afterparty socks and it's a free pattern. Let me look at the designer because I don't know. It's by Beki Dickson. It's knit on 2.5mm needles, which is my usual like sock size. And I think here you can definitely see like the stripes are starting to form. But still, it's very, very curious yarn. So I would say, yeah, there's a big chance that these socks are not gonna turn out the way that I imagined them to. But I do think it's a very fun knitting experience because every time you're knitting and you don't know what to expect. You don't know what's next. You don't know what the end result is gonna look like, and that keeps me entertained at the moment. And then also because this pattern has like a little bit of something going on. So it's a free pattern, so I can talk about it, but it's like one row you're doing yarn overs and knitting together, and then the next row is just knit, and then alternating those two rows. So it has like a little bit going on, which I really enjoy. And then the final work in progress, I'm kind of in doubt whether to show you or not, because it's a gift. So I'm just gonna say that if you know me in real life, then I would like you to not watch this video from here on out. Because I would like to show the other people what I'm knitting on, but I don't want the people to know that they're gonna get a gift. But I'm knitting another pair of socks. These are the Winter Wondrous by Drops, and now that the person is hopefully gone, they are for my boyfriend's stepmom. So kind of mother-in-law. And they are her favorite color. Her favorite color is red. I think she also really likes blue and turquoise, but for some reason I decided to go with red. This pattern is a chunky socks pattern, and I thought this would be really nice for her, and then I'm gonna knit my boyfriend's father the same ones. And then they can like wear it at home, like they're just like cozy stay-at-home socks. So they're knit on 5mm needles, and they're knit with Drops Fable sock yarn held together with Drops brushed alpaca silk. And you can see that it has some color changes in there, because it does. Because this is the Drops Fable. So I think if you were to just use this on your own, or like on its own, then it would have stripes. And then this is the brushed alpaca silk. And then together, this is the result, which I think is really cute. Because yeah, she really likes bright colors and they also look really good on her. So I think it's definitely going somewhere. And it's broken rib. So it has been fun to knit on, and this is just one evening progress. I started these last night. So that's quite a bit of progress, so we'll see how fast I can knit a pair. And then I have another pair to knit. And then I'm also planning to knit some socks for my aunt and my grandma. But we'll have to see if that actually happens, because yeah, I'm not a big gift knitter. I've never gifted anyone something that I've knit before. But I do think it's a really sweet and thoughtful thing. Now I'm gonna get into all of the yarn acquisitions that I have, which is a lot. So if you don't enjoy this, I completely understand. But if you do, stick around for a big haul. So of course I got the Drops Nepal, but it did not end there. Because I also got some Drops Lima in this green color. Like a really nice sage green. I am planning to knit the Colette sweater by Sari Nordland in this yarn. Then I also got some more Drops Air, because I would like to make a crochet cardigan eventually with some Drops Air and like other fluffy suri type of yarns together. I think that would be really fun. So I got these two colors that I think are really cute. And then for the hat, I didn't mention, but the pattern recommends 3 balls, and then I ended up only using 2. So I have another one of that left. So I'm probably just gonna use all of these together in that cardigan, because the colors, yeah, they go well together. So I got that. Then I also got, I believe, Drops Flora. Let me get those. Together with Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk. So I got a lot of brushed alpaca silk. And I want to hold them together to create probably a cabled sweater. And I've been craving a little bit more of neutrals. So I think this will be really nice. And then the last yarn acquisition that I got was at the same store that I talked about. It's called Pendura Yarn Pure Merino, 50 grams. It's a DK weight, I believe. So yeah, 50 grams for 120 meters. Recommended needle size 3.5 to 4 millimeter needles. And this is going to be a little neck scarf. So I got 2 of them. And I think this color for a scarf is really cute. I don't think I would like wear this as a sweater. But as a scarf, yes. So I'm thinking either like the scarf number 2 or 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, which I've knit before. And I have one of either one of those patterns. But then I'm also thinking maybe Sorry Nordland, because she has so many beautiful textured like scarves and shawls on her website. Then the final thing that I wanted to mention is a little bit of a self-promo and sewing thing. So if that's also not your thing, you can also go. Bye-bye. But it's the Amy bag. I showed this also in my last video, the larger size. But I did not show you yet this sample, which is the medium size with a quilted front and a closure option here. It's currently filled with like a bunch of heavy supplies, so it's very multifunctional to say the least. I am actually planning on making some of these bags and selling them on my website, because currently my website, I kind of just sell clothing and accessories, and sometimes I kind of miss that connection that you have with the creative community. So with selling sewing patterns, knitting patterns, and then knitting accessories, I feel like you create much more of a community feeling where people can share and learn from each other, like be inspired by creating and like share our love of creating. And I really have felt the longing for that with my business. I've just felt with clothing, it always felt a little bit like superficial and surface level, because you can only really do so much. So I'm kind of trying to rebrand my business, which feels a little bit risky, but I really want to go more into the creative community. Also because I just really love creating and it's what I'm good at. So I do really want to continue with my business. So yeah, you can follow my business account or just my Mipi Makes account. I'm also still in doubt about that, if I can start talking about it also, but my business account is really dead. Almost no engagement, no views on my stories, not a lot of conversation from people. I used to have that when I started out. When I made something, I would share it and then it would always start a conversation. And right now it's not really like that anymore. But on my knitting account, I have a lot less followers, but I do feel like I get more engagement and even more likes on my posts. I already get more likes on my knitting account than on my business account. And my knitting account, I definitely do not want it to be a commercial business style account, because people there, they are following me for what I knit and not for me to sell them things. But I do want to find a way where I can kind of maybe merge them together, but I'm not sure yet. And also I don't know what people want, because obviously with my business account, my whole target, all of my followers are following me for clothing, and now I'm suddenly switching to sewing patterns, knitting patterns, and knitting accessories. So in that sense, it also doesn't really line up. So I've also thought about just starting again, maybe even having a new name, but then it also feels like it has all been for nothing. You just lost all of the progress that you've made for 1.5 years, because I actually spent a lot of money on advertising to get me to where I am today. So it is a really tough decision, and I think a lot of small businesses can relate that Instagram is just a never-ending struggle, and you're always fighting the algorithm, kind of having to be an influencer almost and sharing reels. I'm definitely not good at that, so I know there are also a lot of things that I can improve at, but it's difficult. So I'm gonna have to see what I'm gonna do. And yeah, but that's also why I like my YouTube channel, because I can kind of just talk about whatever. And I feel like here you just have more of that connection with people than you have on Instagram. And I can show more of who I am and my personality. So I actually never did this, but I do want to thank everyone that watches this channel and that subscribes. And also there are some regulars that are leaving comments, which is really sweet. I don't think I always respond because, you know, time and stuff. But I do always read them, so just know that they are always very much appreciated. So I, would love to know what you're currently knitting on. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I will maybe see you next time. Bye bye!